Welcome to Cinephobe. Oh, excuse me, I'm at Oddball. My name's Amin Elhassan. They call me La Flama Blanca. I am the rootin'est, tootin'est sheriff in the Old West. And we do a little thing around here. We call it Hot Seat. NBA Hot Seat. We deep dive on an NBA team by taking an expert and putting them on the spot, asking them the questions, the hard questions. Now, these aren't suspects. They're just persons of interest, as we like to call them. And today we're very interested in speaking about the Denver Nuggets. No team has had an eventful last 3 weeks like the Nuggets, and so today our guest is Katy Winge. Welcome to the show. Am I saying that right? Winge?
You're saying that correct. Person of interest, Katy Winge. Happy to be here. Excited.
Well, I'm excited that you're excited because I'm excited to ask a couple of questions about the Denver Nuggets.
Can't wait.
As you know, I'm a little bit of an NBA insider myself. I'm almost something of a detective. I hear things. I got my ear to the road, and I hear things about the Nuggets. And sometimes I don't know whether they're true or not, Katy. And I just want to ask you a couple of questions to make sure that we all on the same page. And I do have facts on my side and not just fictions or rumors or conjecture, as might happen once in a while. But I want to start with the end of Game 4. That buzzer beater by Gordon. His hand was still touching the ball, wasn't it?
Most certainly was not.
Okay,
I saw an angle of that shot that I didn't know was possible to have. This angle right here. I don't know what camera is shooting this. I don't know how we got this footage. Talk about, people of interest or doing your research, getting some investigative work done. This right here. He is touching the ball. You can see in that left shot, the light has not gone off. And then his fingers are clearly off of the basketball once the light has gone on. So I do believe that this is as close as it could possibly be. But this is the evidence you're looking for right here.
Not even a fingernail? No, a cuticle perhaps?
No.
It happens time to time. You forget to clip your nails. You start chewing them because you're nervous. It's playoff time. Next thing you know, boom, contact.
I really do think that picture sums it up.
We could call it what it is. And what it was a pass by Jokic. He going to keep calling it a shot because he wants everybody to defend them last second plays like they did right there. Press him up on the sideline. We're going to get a good contest. We're going to try and stop him from making a shot. But really, all along, it was David Adelman's wicked plan to have the Joker throw a lob pass to Mr. Gordon. Am I correct?
Just how they drew it up. Yep. No, you're not correct. Jokic told me after the game that, and it was kind of a joking back and forth situation. He did tell me after the game that his main goal was to shoot with such little time left that there was no chance the Clippers could have a chance to get a shot off. That was his mentality. He said once he shot it, that his first thought was, this is going to be bad, because he did not get a very good look. Aaron Gordon, however, Mr. Right Place, Right Time, always for this Denver Nuggets team, saw it, took advantage of it, won the game.
Yeah, first of all, that's a very likely tale from Mr. Joker, but I do want to give credit to Mr. Gordon because, Katy, a lot of times people look at him and say he's 6'9", he's got a 38-inch vertical. Of course, he got jumped up in the sky and dunked it. But the reality is that was a cerebral basketball play. That was a play of anticipation, a play of readiness, a preparedness for when the opportunity presents itself. I am not going to be sitting idly watching history go by. I am going to be making history. You called Mr. Gordon, let me check my notes here, someone who's done this time and time again.
Right place,
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, first of all, the connection, the chemistry, the telepathy that Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon have and the way that has developed through the years is worthy of second, third, fourth looks because it is unbelievably fun to watch. And I think Aaron Gordon went and visited Nikola Jokic in Serbia. There's like a very true brotherhood. I think they both kind of think of each other as extended family. And you can see how a situation like this, you could pull from that and say, oh, Aaron Gordon knew what potentially could have happened, watched the trajectory of that ball. And you think about it, like he's trying to time it off the rim. So the skill set and the awareness to be able to take an air ball and do that is wild at the speed that the game is being played at. It's funny though, because I think collectively, everyone not named Nikola Jokic on the Denver Nuggets, and that play in particular, it was, we're all crashing. We're all going to try and make a play on the ball. And if you show those pictures one more time, talk to Christian Braun in the locker room afterwards. And Christian Braun, you can see him right behind Aaron Gordon right there. He felt robbed. He thought it was his dunk to be had. And they could have collided. They could have both gone for it. The timing of not running into each other on that play also is worthy of conversation. So I think Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic, we've watched them time and time again just be stars together and have this invisible string connecting each other. And that was just another example of that.
Now, Katy, I'm glad we're walking down this path together, because this leads me to a theory, a working theory, but a theory nonetheless that I've been operating under. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, is the greatest player on the Denver Nuggets. But if I were to ask you who the second most important player on the roster is, your answer would be?
It's very difficult. Difficult answer.
We got her.
I do think if you're leading the witness here by taking the conversation we just had about Aaron Gordon and making that your answer.
This is not a court of law. This is merely a conversation between two compatriots. Pay no attention to the shiny badge on my chest and the fact that you're inside the precinct here.
I have this bright light that feels like it's being spotlight on me. Yeah, I got you.
A conversation between friends. What would a friend say? The answer to the question is.
So I think from a two-way perspective, Aaron Gordon is very important. What he does defensively for this Denver Nuggets team, what he does quietly behind the scenes. One of the things I love that Nikola Jokic always talks about when it comes to Aaron Gordon is his selflessness and the sacrifice that he makes. He was willing to go from being the number one guy in Orlando, being that superstar, to being a championship role player with the Denver Nuggets and thriving in that role and not complaining about an ounce of it. So I think he deserves his flowers in so many different ways. But Jamal Murray is equally as important to what the Denver Nuggets want to do, because he's the one who runs the ship in a lot of ways and make sure that it's sailing in the right direction. Getting Nikola Jokic the basketball in proper areas, that two-man game that they go to and run and operate at such an elite level. You need Jamal Murray to score. And so I think that his success is, there's such a heartbeat within him that really beats for the entire Nuggets team. So when he's playing well and he's producing at a high level, this Nuggets team, things get taken to the next level.
Well, I mean, while we're on the topic of Mr. Murray, who's someone whose exploits in the postseason have been well documented and tremendous scoring outbursts in his past, but I feel as though we're not getting the typical Jamal Murray experience in this postseason. Now, Katy, why would you say that was the case?
So far. Good point. That is the case because the personnel that the Los Angeles Clippers have present a very, very difficult series for Jamal Murray. They have multiple long athletic defenders that they can just throw a bunch of looks at Jamal. They can full court press him. They can wear him down. They have a multitude of bodies that can just give him a really tough time and make his life very difficult. They're taking a lot away. They're double teaming. They're triple teaming. Same thing to Nikola Jokic. So this series has been a lot about the other guys for the Nuggets and how they can step up and if they can make shots because of the way that the Clippers are defending both Jokic and Murray. Not to say that it's going to be that way for the rest of it. Not to say that, Jamal Murray can't have one of those playoff Murray type games. But I think he recognizes that his role in this series is finding ways to score when he can, particularly within that second unit, but also being steady, like not turning over the basketball, being able to handle and set the tone from a physicality perspective. Knowing that the Clippers are going to throw the kitchen sink at him and being able to keep his team calm and poised and under control, that matters a whole lot for who Jamal Murray needs to be in order for the Nuggets to advance.
Katie, I want to flip the conversation a little bit here. I want to talk about not the Nuggets, but I want to talk about a Clipper. Specifically, I believe his name is Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac. Now, he's been widely regarded as the greatest antidote to the exploits of the Joker. We're not saying it's a cure, but he seems to give him a little bit more of a hard time than other centers in the league. Now, why is that?
The physicality that Zubac presents, the way that he, matches up from a size, weight, strength perspective, obviously that helps when Nikola Jokic is as big and strong as he is. I think he knows his tendency. He studies. He knows what they're trying to do. But then you also get the help. What's been fun to watch is how, Ben Simmons will come into the game for Zubac, and then that's when they send those double and triple teams. Zubac, they aren't as quick to send doubles to Nikola Jokic, so it's been more one-on-one coverage, and watching Nikola Jokic kind of dissect that and play that chess game with the Los Angeles Clippers and figure out, okay, need to be more aggressive. I need to look to score when I do have that one-on-one coverage. But Zubac does such a great job of doing his work early, being active, making sure Nikola Jokic is challenged and uncomfortable in trying to get him outside of his spots, because that's really what it is, right? It's Joker trying to get to his spots and beat the defender there and do it time and time and time and time again. And Zubac has just been consistent in making sure that everything is a challenge for Nikola Jokic.
Going into this series, I was pretty convinced that the Denver Nuggets were going to make it a point to get Zubac in foul trouble early and often because of the as you put it, the lack of maybe confidence in the depth behind him on that Clipper bench. And yet, he's only had 5 fouls in one game. He's managed to remarkably stay under the foul trouble limit, 12 total personal fouls through 4 games. Was the strategy incorrect on my understanding, or have they just struggled to enact it?
Let me ask you a question, Officer, Sheriff. How many fouls do you think have been overlooked, not even just in this series, but in the NBA playoffs of the first round overall?
Well, I'll answer your question with a question. How familiar are you with the word physicality? Because every time I turn my TV on, it's physicality this, physicality in Detroit, physicality down in Cleveland, physicality over there in the Clippers series, physicality in the Rockets series. The NBA buzzword, Ms. Winge, is physicality this postseason.
I think there is a little window of adjustment period of we're going to let them play, and everybody's kind of figuring out what that actually means and what that actually looks like. And I'm a firm believer that even during the regular season, Nikola Jokic could probably get a foul call on every possession. People are just trying to be so physical with him. But now we're getting to the playoffs, and you're seeing this physicality all over the place, everywhere in every series. And so I think they're just letting guys play. I really do. And I think that there is a pendulum that's kind of swinging of guys recognizing, oh, they're letting us play, so we're going to be more physical. And then it might have to get toned back. But we'll see. I think you're right. There hasn't been as much concern over foul calls, but I think that's because people don't want that to be the case. Everybody wants to see everybody play. Everybody wants to see teams be full strength going against each other.
Everybody wants to see everybody. I could not agree more. This conversation has me parched. Can I get you a cold beverage? Let's take a break. Let's take a break, get some cold beverages in here, and me and my good friend, Ms. Winge, will continue our conversation. Welcome back to Oddball. We're on the hot seat with our person of interest, Katy Winge of Altitude Television Network. She covers the Denver Nuggets. Katie, I like you. You got an easygoing demeanor to you. You know, you're clearly very intelligent about the topic at hand, but I feel like you're holding out on me. I feel like you got information that you're not sharing with me, and that's not how friends do. So I'm going to ask you one more time about that play, that lucky play at the end of Game 4. So anybody else could chime in. We heard of Christian Brown. We heard from Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. Anybody else has some opinions on that play?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because Michael Porter Jr. in the locker room, I asked him for his perception of what went down. And he looked at me, had the microphone in front of him, and he said, actually, that play is because of me. I did that. And I said, please say more. Please say more. And he said, well, I went over to Nikola Jokic before the ball was inbounded. And I said, make sure you shoot it in a way that we have a chance to get the rebound. And because he said that, that was in Jokic's brain. And what do you know? He shot it and it went directly into the hands of Aaron Gordon. So thank you, Michael Porter Jr.
We're having a grand old time here, but let's get down to brass tacks, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's be real here.
I thought we were.
No, we're really going to be real now. This you could tell because now my voice sounds like Stephen Dorff.
It's getting serious.
Lower.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the Nuggets are lucky that this series isn't over already. It should have been a sweep. Game 1, lucky shot from Russ in the corner. Game 2, commanding execution at the end of the game by the Clippers. Game 3, I was in the building for that one. It was a barn burner. And then Game 4, that last play that you described with Michael Porter Jr. taking credit and all that, man, that's luckier than two rats finding each other in a haystack in Kansas. I ran out of analogies there.
Are there rats in Kansas?
I don't know. There are rats everywhere. Talk to me. These Nuggets realistically should have lost 3, maybe even 4 out of the 4 games if it weren't for serendipity.
I could say that 3 out of the 4 games, they could be up 3-1 as well. Other than that barn burner, I believe, as you described it.
Yeah.
The Nuggets could be up too. I think there's luck that goes both ways. And I think, one, what you call luck, some might call strategy, some might call execution, some might call skill. But you need a little bit of luck in the NBA playoffs in order to advance. You need things to go your way from time to time. I think the Nuggets will be the first one to tell you that after making their championship run in 23. So I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I could agree to it. Either way, we're still tied up at 2-2. Does it really matter?
It doesn't matter. You know why, Katie? Because whoever wins this series is going to go get waxed by the Oklahoma City Thunder. 6 games or less. Guaranteed.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
That is
6
a statement.
games or less.
6 or less.
I think whoever comes out of this series might give OKC a run for their money. I think the Thunder are feeling pretty high and mighty right now. Resting. They think they're unstoppable. Maybe a slice of humble pie might be on their way.
Well, I don't know how you deliver a slice of humble pie when they're the bakery. Because Oklahoma City not only has the best record, not only is the only team to wrap up its first round series and is just waiting for the rest of y'all to catch up, but what if I told you they also have the MVP of the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
What
They're
you got to
also
say about that?
young and inexperienced, and the MVP of the NBA spent a whole lot of time at the free throw line during the regular season, and those calls might not be as tight during the playoffs, during a physical round 2, as what they were in the regular season. Might be some adversity that they have to face, and they haven't faced a whole lot of adversity.
Now, if we weren't friends, I would consider that to be a threat. A threat that, hey, we're going to get physical over here. But Katy
I'm just trying to play
Winge is a
devil's
friend.
advocate here. I can't agree with you on everything. That would be the boringest show ever.
Well, since we're talking about a show where there's a little bit of duality, if you will, 2 voices on either side of the same debate me on this one. Firing Michael Malone was a massive mistake by the Denver Nuggets.
Whew, it's really getting hot. The light feels bright. It's getting warm in here. I don't think that we can answer that right this second. I don't know. I think from my opinion, I'll give you this. Michael Malone deserved better. And Josh Kroenke was the first to say that. He did a press conference and said Michael Malone and Calvin Booth deserved better, given everything that they gave to the city of Denver, given everything that they gave to this franchise. That was not the way they wanted to do this. However, you have this window of opportunity in Nikola Jokic's prime, and you don't want to waste a second of it. And the way that things were going in that locker room, the way that there was some toxic energy flowing from the top down, they decided they needed to make a move right this second. And the Nuggets won 3 in a row. Right after that, they got the playoff seeding that they wanted based off of that. They were able to focus in, come back together, have a revitalized energy in that locker room, a positivity, a connectedness that they didn't have for a stretch of the season that ultimately led to the decision in the firing of Michael Malone. I'll be the first to say, I'm the biggest Michael Malone fan. He was wonderful to me throughout his entire time in Denver. Loved working alongside him, loved what he did for this city and for this organization. It does seem like this team really, really wants to play hard for David Adelman. And there is this renewed sense of belief of, no, they could do something special. They are bought in. They are committed to each other, which I think is really special. And we'll see. We'll see. We don't know if the firing of Michael Malone was a poor decision until a year from now, 2 years from now, seeing how things go.
At the very least, we can agree that the Nuggets should pay for the tattoo removal, though, for Michael Malone.
You think he's going to get it removed? I don't know. I mean, like, that's like saying he's going to get rid of his championship ring because he's so upset. Like, he's not going to do that. It's a part of him. It was a part of who he is.
I don't know. If I had tattooed all my exes' names all over me, I'd look like a cartoon character. So I don't know if I could. I'd want to see that every single day, looking in the mirror and say, man, I should have still been there in the hunt for a championship. But even if he was still here, Katie, I'm gonna cut you. I know you want to respond. I'm not gonna let you respond because I'm gonna get to the real point here. Even if Michael Malone were still here, the fate is sealed because even should the Nuggets advance, the Clippers expose the true weakness of Nikola Jokic. It's horse heads. Look at that.
I mean, the Clippers did win this game. They did win this game. Yep, I love the wall. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the what the fans bring, the competitive, fiery spirit. The next game, game 4, they had dino chicken nugget stuffed animals that they were waving all over the place to try and distract the Denver Nuggets. I actually asked before this game, when I saw them sitting in the seats, the horse heads, I said, interesting. What happens if this backfires and that actually motivates him? Because horses are Nikola Jokic's favorite thing in the entire world. What if he looks into that wall and feels right at home, comfy, cozy amongst his favorite beings?
You think it had the opposite effect? It gave him a hometown. And for the audio listeners, we're looking at a picture of one Katy Winge wearing a horse head over her head. You can kind of see the outline of her face underneath the horse's head. But this was the giveaway for the folks that were sitting in the wall at Intuit Dome.
For game 3.
For game 3.
So when Nikola Jokic was at the free throw line, all of the wall had their horse heads on, yelling, going crazy, trying to get him to miss those free throws.
Okay, we only got about 60 seconds here. I'm going to be brief with this last one. If Nikola Jokic retires with only one championship, it will have been a catastrophic failure. True or false?
False. Catastrophic failure that's a very big phrase. A lot of really great players go their entire careers without winning championships. So no, what he's doing is changing and has been changing the way that basketball is played, the way that the center position is observed. I think he's already creating a legacy, and who knows what else is to come. Who knows?
Her name is Katy Winge. You can catch her on the Altitude Network covering the Denver Nuggets, who, as of this taping, are still above snakes, which ChatGPT tells me is cowboy slang for still alive. So there it is. Katy Winge, Redbird. Thank you for watching Oddball, and thank you for being our person of interest.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I put in ChatGPT. I said, what's some cowboy slang I could use? And it said, hog killing time, above snakes, and hair in the butter. And I was trying my darndest to put hair in the butter in there. And it was just like, every time, just doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound appropriate.